Well, you're very welcome, Katja, and all the other people as well. Thank you for being here, all in presence. I see you all, in a way, like representing all the citizens of this world. You are just a few here, if you compare it with the 7 billion, but you are all representing the human being on this earth. And after having my hell ride 1 hour with my sister here, it's quite heavy to start. I have to admit that. I didn't prepare anything. I just go with the flow. Thank you for the introduction. It is what it is. I was on both sides as a child and later as a perpetrator. I have to start with the birth of a human being. The awareness I share is the awareness I have now. It's sometimes maybe a bit confusing later on when I start to express myself and explaining things, giving a testimony about things, because I do it with the awareness I have now. And most of the things I was not aware of in the past. I discovered things step by step. But to begin with the birth, this is a universal thing. It is when we are born, I start to discover we are so connected with the source of life, what I call the creator of heaven and earth. We are pure. We are manifesting the God, being the son or the daughter. We are the light. Then we enter the program of this world. And this is not a new program, it's a very old program. It's a Luciferian program. That means they start to raise us up through our beloved father and mother, if you have one, in a program to end up in the slavery system we have. Because we are just a source to use. We are the value, we are the light, and they want to suck it completely. Like screwing the orange completely, sucking everything out, throw it away. Once they call this the American system. The American system. You consume it and you throw it away. And that's what's happening on this planet. It's going through your parents. They love you. They want to take care of you. They put you in the vaccine programs with a lot of chemicals to damage your immune system. It's in the school system. It's everywhere to be the perfect slave. There is another thing, and that's more about my story. When I was born, just a bit later on, I started to discover that I was born in a family with a father and mother who were heavily damaged during the Second World War. So these were not real developed people, they were heavily damaged. And because of that, my first 9 years on Earth were that heavy that I start to realize that if there is a heaven and earth, I was born in hell. Because it was not heaven on earth at all. It was hell. My mother was not able to defend me. And my father figured out that he couldn't hit my mother. She was so heavily abused and damaged that it doesn't matter for her. So to hit her, I was the firstborn. Because he knew that my mother, for the first time, was able to love a human being, and that was me. So the best way to hit her was hitting me. So brutal that I start to copy his behavior. I was, in that period of my life, it was not a common expression, but I was one of the first terrorists on earth, beating up everyone on school. I was really terror. That was picked up by organizations who protect children. So there was an investigation coming up. And they start to discover my situation, and they, by court, they put me in a place where they protect heavily damaged children. It was a Catholic accommodation, and they really, really loved children. And they didn't have Vaseline to make it a bit more smoothie. This is how I start to discover what it is to have sexual games on me. I didn't know what sex was. And they did this for 2 years. Very intense, not only with me, but it was with all the children. And the first year was most hell. And then you get this fuck up with yourself as well, because after being through all this pain and tortures with, well, I save you the details. It's well, if you know everything, you really like to kill humans. And I was going in that way, in that direction. To survive all this, the first 11 years and the last 2 years was really screaming to go back to the other hell. That one was actually better than the second hell. One of the mechanisms we have in our human being the light, is on the moment you are going through hell, you get disconnected. One way or the other. It is a miracle. So your body is still moving around with everything they are doing, but you're not there. You are there, but not there. Disconnected. That's the way how we survive.